I want to get you out the door with every result from every league in under 15 minutes, so that you're more informed about what's going on in the world of sports.
Hey TJ, what's going on? I'm Chandler and this is Tiger Beat Sports.
Hey everybody, I'm Chandler Sports and this is the Sport Report.
And I'm Chandler and this is Tiger Beat Sports. Welcome to a special edition of this all crazy sports newscast.
Broadcasting from somewhere in the United States.
Hit it, Blaze.
This is the Sport Report.
Wednesday, April 3rd, 2019.
Hey everybody, I'm Chandler with Sports, and this is the Sport Report. It's time to get you caught up on what's happening in the world of sports. This is Top of the Order.
In a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened.
This is Top of the Order.
Our top story comes from the NBA. Russell Westbrook recorded the second 20-20-20. That's right, 3 20s. It's the second game in NBA history where a player got 20 in 3 separate categories. Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain did it on February 2nd, 1968. 22 points, 25 rebounds, and 21 assists for Wilt the Stilt. Russell Westbrook ties Magic Johnson and Oscar Robertson as one of only 3 players in history to record multiple 20-20-10 games in the NBA. 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 20 assists. Robertson and Magic have each done it 3 times. Continuing with basketball, let's move to the hardwood.
Bird takes the shot. It's gone! Oh my goodness! I can't believe it!
Jordan with 2 seconds to go puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago.
Around the NBA.
The NBA had 4 games on its slate last night. Let's start with the best game in the NBA. The Golden State Warriors won 116-102 over the Denver Nuggets. It may have been a 14-point game at the end, but the Warriors led by 30 at some point in the game. Kevin Durant was ejected in the third quarter as well. Boogie Cousins had 28 points and 12 rebounds for Golden State, and before Durant was ejected for arguing with an official, he had 21 points. Jamal Murray had 17 points for the Nuggets. The San Antonio Spurs defeated the Atlanta Hawks 117-111. Kent Bazemore had 26 points for Atlanta in the 6-point loss. DeMar DeRozan added 29 points for San Antonio. The Houston Rockets beat the Sacramento Kings 130-105 last night. James Harden had 36 points and 10 assists for the Rockets. Buddy Hield had 20 points for Sacramento. Finally, like we said, Russell Westbrook had a 20-20-20 game. Oklahoma City Thunder won 119-103 over the LA Lakers. You already know how Russell Westbrook did for the Thunder, but on the other side of the ball for the Lakers, it was Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, KCP, with 23 points for LA. In case you missed it earlier in the week, LeBron James was shut down by the LA Lakers for the season as they are no longer in playoff hunt. It'll also give him time to rest his groin. Tonight, there are 12 games in the NBA. As the season begins to wind down, there will be bigger game slates on one day and smaller slates on another. There are 8 days remaining in the NBA season. The season will end Wednesday, April 10th. Tomorrow's games in the NBA include the Indiana Pacers at the Detroit Pistons, the Knicks at the Magic, the Bulls at the Wizards, Sixers at the Hawks, Toronto Raptors are at the Brooklyn Nets, Boston Celtics are playing the Miami Heat for the second game in a row, this time in Miami, Charlotte Hornets at the Pelicans, Wolves at the Mavericks, Spurs at the Nuggets, who are on the second half of a back-to-back, Utah Jazz at the Phoenix Suns, Memphis Grizzlies at the Portland Trailblazers, and the Houston Rockets are at the LA Clippers. NBA standings, in case you missed yesterday's episode, let's catch you up. The Milwaukee Bucks are the top seed in the Eastern Conference if the playoffs were to begin today. They don't begin for another 8 days. Toronto Raptors in second, 3 games behind them. Sixers in third. Celtics and Pacers are tied for 4th. Detroit Pistons in 6th. Brooklyn Nets in 7th. Miami Heat in 8th. The Orlando Magic are half a game behind Miami for the 8th spot. In the Western Conference, the Golden State Warriors extend their lead to 2 games over the Denver Nuggets. They each have 5 games left. The Houston Rockets are in 3rd, Portland Trailblazers in 4th, Utah Jazz in 5th, LA Clippers in 6th, San Antonio Spurs and Oklahoma City Thunder are tied for 7th and 8th. Now we move to the ice.
Back in front door, shot, scores! Bobby O from Sanderson! Beto! Rebound chance in front. Taken is there, puck comes free, score! Score!
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
around the NHL.
There was a 10-game slate in the NHL last night. The Columbus Blue Jackets needed a win versus the Boston Bruins to clinch a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference, but Boston had other ideas. They win 6-2 over Columbus. The Nashville Predators led 1-0 and 2-1 before Buffalo tied the game. In the end, it was Ryan Johansson scoring his 13th goal of the season, 6:32 into the third period, as the Nashville Predators took down the Buffalo Sabres 3-2. Carolina Hurricanes defeated the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-1. The Tampa Bay Lightning have locked up the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference as well as the best record in the NHL, but the Montreal Canadiens are fighting for a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. Canadiens won 4-2 over the Lightning. In order to help their playoff hopes, they scored 2 goals in the third period. The Detroit Red Wings won 4-1 over the Pittsburgh Penguins last night. Bertuzzi and Mantha each had 2 goals for the Red Wings. Bertuzzi's 20th and 21st, Mantha's 23rd and 24th. Phil Kessel scored his 25th goal of the season late in the first period, but it was all Detroit after that. The Winnipeg Jets lost to the Minnesota Wild 5-1 last night. Zach Parise had his 27th and 28th goals of the season. The Dallas Stars clinched a playoff spot. They're now on 91 points. We'll get to that in the standings. They defeated the Philadelphia Flyers 6-2. The game was tied at 2 goals apiece before Alexander Radulov had 2 of the next 4 goals for the Stars en route to the 6-2 victory. The Colorado Avalanche needed a win versus the Edmonton Oilers, and even though they trailed 2-0 early on, they scored 6 unanswered to win the game 6-2. Milan Lucic scored his 6th goal of the season to open the scoring, but after that, it was Nathan MacKinnon and Tyson Barrie and company who had the goals for Colorado. The Vancouver Canucks defeated the San Jose Sharks 4-2 last night. Joe Pavelski scored his 38th goal of the season on a power play. It was a wonderful tippet from Pavelski. Martin Jones had 19 saves for the Sharks. Tanner Pearson scored his 15th and 16th goals of the season for Vancouver as they win 4-2. Finally, the LA Kings helped Colorado's playoff chances by defeating the Arizona Coyotes 3-1. The LA Kings scored an empty netter late in the third period to put it away, but Arizona had a power play to keep it interesting, but weren't able to convert on any of the opportunities late in the third. So how does this affect the standings? We'll get to that in just a moment. We look at tomorrow's 3 games. The Ottawa Senators are at the New York Rangers, the St. Louis Blues play the Chicago Blackhawks, and the Calgary Flames travel to the Honda Center for the Anaheim Ducks. Now we move to the standings. For those just joining us, the NHL playoffs are determined by 3 teams, the top 3 teams in each division, and the 2 best teams are determined as the wild card after the top 3 teams in each division. The Tampa Bay Lightning have clinched the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. They're at 124 points. Boston Bruins are 19 points behind them. They will not catch them. Boston is 2nd, Toronto 3rd in the Atlantic Division. Those are the top 3 seeds in the Atlantic. The Metropolitan Division has the Washington Capitals in front of the New York Islanders by 3 points and in front of the Pittsburgh Penguins by 5. In the wild card, it's the Carolina Hurricanes on 95 points and the Columbus Blue Jackets on 94. They hold the tiebreaker with ROW, which is regulation plus overtime wins. They hold the tiebreaker by 3 games over Montreal. The only way Montreal can get into the playoffs is by outright defeating Columbus on points total. In the Western Conference, it's the Winnipeg Jets and the Nashville Predators tied on 96 points. The St. Louis Blues have 94 points with a game in hand on both teams above them. It could come down to a 3-team race as the final 2 games take place. In the Pacific Division, it's the Calgary Flames, who have clinched the number 1 seed in the West. San Jose Sharks are 10 points behind them, and Vegas is at 93 points in the Pacific for 3rd. In the wild card, the Dallas Stars clinched the playoff spot. The first wild card is clinched, 91 points for them. Colorado Avalanche have 88 points, and thanks to Arizona's loss, they lead the Coyotes by 4 points. They also have ROW by a game over the Coyotes. Coyotes and Avs have 2 games remaining. We'll have Jack Esper on in tomorrow's episode to discuss the playoff race. Minnesota and Chicago were both eliminated with Colorado's win versus Edmonton last night. Finally, we move to the Diamond. No, not Neil Diamond, the baseball diamond.
High fly ball into right field. She is gone!
And Carlton Fisk had a lot of little boy in him right there.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight and the Mets win it.
Touch 'em all, Joe. Home run! Mike Piazza!
Jeter backhands from the outfield grass. Got it! Man, what a play!
Now now from Major League Baseball.
The Tampa Bay Rays took down the Colorado Rockies 4-0. The Detroit Tigers defeated the New York Yankees 3-1. Milwaukee Brewers 4-3 winners over the Cincinnati Reds. The Philadelphia Phillies 8-2 winners over the Washington Nationals. Bryce Harper returned to Washington, this time as a member of the Phillies after signing that monster contract in the offseason. He struck out versus Max Scherzer, who was moved up a day. But he did have a homer late in the game to silence the crowd in Washington. The Baltimore Orioles defeated the Toronto Blue Jays 2-1. New York Mets 6-5 over the Miami Marlins. Texas Rangers in an all-Texas battle got the better of the Houston Astros 6-4. It took 10 innings for the Twins to beat the Royals. 5-4 winners for Minnesota. The Seattle Mariners 2-1 over the Angels. The Dodgers 6-5 over San Francisco. San Francisco trailed 6-2 in the 9th inning. Kenley Jansen, the closer for the Dodgers, came in and gave up 3 runs, but Pablo Panda Bear Sandoval grounded into a double play. 6-4-3 to end the game. And in a game that almost became top of the order, if not for Russell Westbrook's historic night, the Arizona Diamondbacks defeated the San Diego Padres 8-5. Zach Greinke, the starting pitcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks, had 2 homers. No, he didn't give up 2 homers, he hit 2 homers. He also struck out 10 batters when he was on the mound. Hunter Renfroe had 2 homers and almost became another Padre into the record books with 3 homers, but he wasn't able to accomplish that feat in the 8th inning when he came up to bat. Now, we want to bring up something for March Madness. The Final Four takes place on Saturday. In the first game of the night on Saturday at 6:09 Eastern, 3:09 p.m. Pacific, the Virginia Cavaliers, the champions of the South region, will take on the Auburn Tigers, the champions of the Midwest division and the 5 seed out of that region, in the first matchup of the Final Four. 30 minutes or so after the conclusion of that game, the Texas Tech Red Raiders will take on Tom Izzo's Michigan State Spartans, who knocked off the Duke Blue Devils in the Elite Eight. The winners of those 2 games will face off in the national championship on Monday, April 8th. We'll have full team coverage on the national championship for April 9th's episode. That's the Sport Report for April 3rd, 2019.
For now, I'm Chandler.
Thanks for tuning into the Sport Report today. We'll be back tomorrow with the latest in sports.
Do you want to contact Chandler Sports or members of the Sport Report team? Visit sportreportcws.com.
This podcast is copyrighted by the Sport Report for viewers to understand sports from a news reporting basis. Any other use of this podcast, Sport Report logos, or anything associated with this podcast without the express written consent of Channel Sports is strictly prohibited.